The original script had a number of scenes in which Padme and Anakin had long talks in which they talked about their past, about their feelings. And in particular, the backstory of Padme Amidala was fleshed out. She talks about where she grew up and the relationship with her parents and her family.
That was more of an issue of character on her part, on his part, and on the same time, talking a little bit about elected officials, about term limits.
It was all good backstory information, but it took many minutes to get it out.
I didn't particularly like the dialogue in that sequence. I thought it went on for too long, and I didn't know how we could sustain it. And I think George felt basically the same way.
When you really cut it into the movie and you looked at it, it had some interesting points. It had a nice grand location that we had, but ultimately it didn't move the plot along.
You cut it in, it's way too long. You realize that you don't need to know that information, and you realize that the only really important part is the middle part, as they're crossing the bridge. You cut it out, and it works, and if you can make a skillful enough edit, nobody notices, and it's flawless.
When I first started my training, I was very homesick and very lonely. But I'd always feel better when I thought about the palace, the way it shimmers in the sunlight, the way the air always smells of flowers.
And the soft sound of the distant waterfalls. When I first saw the Capitol, I was very young, and I'd never seen a waterfall before. I thought they were so beautiful. I never dreamed that one day I'd be living in the palace.
Tell me, did you dream of power and politics when you were a little girl?
No, that was the last thing I thought of. I wasn't the youngest queen ever elected, but now that I think back on it, I'm not sure I was old enough. I'm not sure I was ready.
The people you served thought you did a good job. I heard they even tried to amend the Constitution so you could stay in office.
Popular rule is not democracy, Annie. It gives the people what they want, not what they need. I was relieved when my 2 terms were up. So were my parents. They were very worried about me during the blockade. They couldn't wait for it all to be over. Actually, I'd hoped to have a family of my own by now. My sister has the most amazing, wonderful kids. But when the Queen asked me to serve as senator, I couldn't refuse her.
I agree with her. I think the Republic needs you. I'm glad that you chose to serve.
That's so cool. I don't remember ever seeing that.